going to the beginning when Fred Downs, young lieutenant in the Army, is flying into Vietnam. At 23:30 hours, the Continental Big Bird with the golden tail DC-8 dropped through the night sky into the landing pattern over the black landscape of Vietnam. 23 hours earlier, 165 of us had been crammed aboard the commercial jet at the airport near San Francisco. I looked around the cabin at the officers and enlisted men who had come from all over the United States to catch this flight from San Francisco. How would they return? How would I return? I had graduated 6 months earlier from the U.S. Army's OCS program at Fort Benning, Georgia, and now I was soon to be leading men into combat. I was 23 years old, and I had been trained to lead. Physically, I thought I was ready. Mentally, I was as confident of myself as any young officer could be. But underneath my confidence were the ever-present questions, worry, and curiosity about war and my role in it. I was eagerly looking forward to finding answers. I would not have to wait long. So we've talked about that before. When you're stepping into a leadership role, there's a good chance you're not going to feel 100% confident. And that's okay. So he gets to Vietnam. He gets assigned to 4th Division. And he hadn't heard of 4th Division. He hadn't seen it in the papers. And he kind of is asking, hey, why haven't I seen that in the papers? What are they doing? And he said, there's no reporters up there where they're working. It's too rough for them. And he's kind of saying, I want to make sure I get it on. And some of the old timers are telling him, one of them says, you'll get a belly full of fighting up there, son, if that's what you want. So it's one of those be careful what you wish for scenarios. And I thought this was pretty interesting. We talk about Hackworth and the hardcore Recondos as the salute and reply. The reply is no fucking slack. So here's what they had here. It was SOP to salute in the company area, but not in the field. When an enlisted man saluted, he would say, "Golden Dragon, sir." The officer would return the salute with "Right of the line." I asked about this. They told me that the 1st to the 14th, that's the division he's with, the 1st to the 14th was an old infantry regiment steeped in tradition. During the Boxer Rebellion in China, the unit had fought bravely. Afterward, they adopted the symbol of a golden dragon. The other part of the salute came from some battle in the Civil War. Right before a large battle, a staff officer asked a general where to put the 1st to the 14th. The general had roared back, "Put them to the right of the line, where they belong." The right of the line is where a leader traditionally puts his best men and units. This comes down through military history when a man fought with his shield and sword. The right arm or sword arm was unprotected. The best fighter was put to the right to protect the sword arm of the man on his left. Only the most trusted and best fighters held the position to the right. Legit. So he's there in the headquarters area for a little while, and then he gets his indoctrination and then gets flown out. Flies out into the field, into where he's going to be operating out of. He gets up there, and this is straight out of a movie right here. Bugs swarmed around my face. I squatted and looked at the men, who looked right back at me. It was my first view of American GIs who had spent several days in the jungle. I stood there in sparkling crisp fatigues, brand new boots, new rifle, clean shaven, fresh haircut. I even smelled clean. My helmet camouflage cover didn't have a mark on it, nor did I. The two men opposite me were filthy. Their fatigues were torn, and they had scratches all over their skin, 2 or 3 days of growth on their beard, and dark circles under their eyes. They looked tired, and they smelled the high heaven. So that's right out of a movie. The boot lieutenant coming in to take over. He's in his pressed camis looking all squared away, and these guys look like they're living in hell. And they introduced the company commander. And this guy you're going to see throughout the book, this guy, Captain Sells, was an ROTC officer, 26 years old, son of a father killed in Korea. So that's, the guy's dad got killed in Korea, and during the Vietnam War, he's joining up and leading men into combat. He's a company commander. And if you remember from the book Platoon Leader, you remember he didn't even meet the company commander. So his direct boss didn't even meet him for weeks. He'd been in the field for weeks before he even met him. And here's this company commander, obviously much more squared away, walks him around, introduces him to everybody, he's giving him a heads up. This is the way it's supposed to be. And, he's getting told, look, there's enemy all around. And you might have heard in that intro piece that I read, I was talking about Delta 6. And here's a little piece about that. He informed me that his radio signal was Delta 6. So that's the Delta company commander's Delta 6. Lieutenant Smart, the first platoon leader, was Delta 1-6. The second platoon leader was Delta 2-6. Sixes were the commanders of the unit. And this is a tradition that holds true in the Army and the Marine Corps today. And it's pretty cool when you're in the field, you would hear someone call for the 6. And that means that we want to talk to the guy that's in charge out there. Their seconds in command were known as 5s. For instance, Delta 1-5 was the first platoon sergeant. And this is, goes on to talk a little bit more about Captain Sells, who's asking him about his family. He's getting to know him. And he's, Downs had a wife and 2 little girls back in Illinois. And so, again, you're getting the impression that Sells is a guy that's trying to get to know his people and learn about them, which is the way what a leader should be doing.